We just start talking.
Yeah. So Peggy, share with our wonderful diabetic audience, share your story.
Well, for me, this began in the year 2008, the summer of 2008. I got very, very sick, and I was in the hospital all summer. 9 months later, I was still sick, under 10 doctors, not getting well, on lots of medication. Was really discouraged to the point where I thought I was going to have to take a leave of absence from the church. And I was on my way to a dinner for other clergy in there, and I had started a weight reduction program, thinking, well, if you lose some of this excess weight, maybe you'll feel better. But it was a point system diet, and I could still eat all the junk food I wanted, and sugar and sweets and everything else, as long as I didn't go over those points, and I could lose weight. I'd been on it 3 weeks, wasn't feeling any better, but had lost weight, but was lamenting about at dinner that night there would be nothing I could eat because I didn't know how to count it. And a friend of mine said, well, you can eat what I'm bringing. And I said, well, what are you bringing? And she said, Dr. Ann's bean salad. And I said, what is that? And who in the world is Dr. Ann? So we get to the dinner, and I think, well, I'll try it. You know, I never wanted that kind of food before. But I ate it and thought it was good and went back to get seconds, and there was one helping left, and a guy was getting it, and I hit his hand and said, that's all I can eat, so I want to eat this. So on the way home, I asked her more about Dr. Ann, and I went home that night, looked up Dr. Ann on the computer, stayed up literally all night long because I could access her past newsletters. I read every one of them all night long, and I thought, so I ordered a book. And I ordered a book, and when it came, I stayed up all night and read it, and things began to make sense, but I was so desperate, I thought, I'm going to give it a try. I have nothing else I can do anymore. I am truly in bad health, and I don't know what else to do. And so little by little, I incorporated. The first thing I did was just eliminate Diet Cokes. I drank 5 Diet Cokes a day minimum. And then I started incorporating some veggies, and I'm not a veggie person. The only thing I bought in the vegetable department was white potatoes and bananas. And didn't even know how to pronounce those vegetables. And now I graze in the produce section of what I don't grow myself. I stay in the produce section, buy things I don't even know what to do with, come home and cook them, and I am just hooked on fruits and vegetables. But anyway, back to my story. Little by little, I started incorporating Dr. Ann, and then I ordered her CD. That brought me more benefit, truly, than anything else. I put it in my car, and I'm in the car a lot with what I do for a living, and so I'm listening to it all the time. And I read this in her book, but there's something about the enthusiasm of hearing her speak, and when she started talking about insulin resistance, it just seemed like a light bulb came on, and I wanted to know more about it. You have to understand, my eldest is 37, and when she was very, very young, I was diagnosed with diabetes. At first, I was sad to hear that I had diabetes, but then it really wasn't affecting my life, and they told me I needed to check my blood, and they told me if I didn't get it under control with diet and exercise, I'd be on medication. I did nothing about it. I kept eating the way I always ate. I seemed to be doing all right. I avoided doctors, didn't like to go get physicals because all I had to hear was, your diabetes is getting worse, here's a diet, take it home and learn to do this. But nobody ever explained to me insulin resistance. It was just something about finally understanding what caused this. Plus, I had allowed myself to get in a critical position. You have to understand that I do have some neuropathy in my feet, and there is some signs of diabetes in my eyes. But I had to get to a point where I was dying to finally decide maybe being healthy is the thing to do. So I started reading about the glycemic index, things that I'd never even heard of, and started trying it. And I didn't do it overnight. I incorporated, as Dr. Ann suggested, one change at a time. I would say 5 months after I had done this, and my weight was dropping off. And you got to understand, I always wanted to lose the weight. I didn't care about my health. I wasn't even, that wasn't even part of who I was. I just wanted to lose weight, so I yo-yo dieted all my life. I'd have great successes, but couldn't understand why immediately it would go back on. I just didn't understand it. I understand it now. And now I like to eat. I like to eat volumes. I love food. I laughed at one time and said, I want a surgery that will take out my taste buds. Thank God that never happened, because food never tastes better to me. I eat volumes of food. I want a variety of food. I eat lots of vegetables, fruits, a lot of fish, and I never would even eat fish before. I don't eat red meat. I make sure I am eating the right kind of milk. I'm sure it's all balanced, but I follow this program. Now let me tell you what the good news is. Last October I went to my doctor because in the Methodist Church I'm required to get a physical every year. And I didn't mind going this time. I'd lost weight and I knew I was healthy. Dr. Ann said that when I knew I would be healthy, my palms would start turning orange. And lo and behold, my doctor noticed my palms were orange and thought something was wrong with me. He did my blood work. And we've always, he always just walked back in with my blood work and just, I don't know, I felt so bad when he talked to me just about how bad my health was. But anyway, he came in shocked this time and said, we got to take your blood again. I think the lab has messed something up. Well, I didn't understand, so they took more blood and sent it to another lab, and I went back in 2 weeks later, and he was scratching his head, and he said, I know you've lost weight, but Peggy, look at these numbers. Now, in the summer of 2008, my sugar was way over 300. They had me on insulin. I didn't want to give myself those shots. I didn't want to take medicine. I'm not a good patient, and I wish I had been. But it's never too late. When Dr. Ann said, if you do not have type 2 diabetes, you do not have to get it. And if you do have it, you can reverse it. She's the first doctor that ever told me that. I've reversed mine. My A1 now is below 6. I take my sugar every morning, and it's between 80 and 90. And I eat more food. I eat more food than I've ever eaten. I love food. I love my health. I am so healthy now. My doctors don't believe it. Nobody believes the change that has come over my life. I had take no medications. I was on medication for blood pressure. I was on medication for diabetes. I take nothing. My doctor didn't want me to go off of it, but now he is a believer. In fact, so much of a believer that the nurses in his office all have Dr. Ann's book because I gave it to them. They wanted to know what had happened in my life because they had seen me dying before them. And I'm as bad as alive as a person can be today. And it's all because of this program and the way they explain it to you. And if you'll do it, you too can see the same results, probably even better than I have. And we can continue to live a great, fulfilling life.